Facts you didn't know about GPS. The global positioning system is important in keeping afloat loads of our technologies. It allows us to obtain accurate directions as we drive, track how far a person drove, ran, and so much more. Despite how common GPS has become, and how essential it is for so many processes we've come to take for granted, no one really knows that much about it. Don't worry though, we have you covered. That being said, let us take a look at facts you didn't know about GPS. Before we get to our top 3 list, let's look at some honorable mention candidates just outside of the top 3. GPS doesn't only find locations. The accuracy of GPS time signals is closer to 10 billionths of a second, which is only beaten by atomic clocks themselves. This is why it is also used to determine accurate time, which is extremely important for time-critical applications. Our phone networks, banking systems, financial markets, and power grids all greatly depend on GPS for precise time synchronization. There are presently 32 GPS satellites in orbit. In order to achieve global coverage for GPS, 24 satellites are needed. The first of the 24 were launched in 1989, and the 24th was launched in 1994. GPS satellites only last about 10 years and need frequent servicing during their lifetime, which is why there are presently 32 GPS satellites in orbit. The remaining satellites fill in the gaps when the main 24 satellites need to be serviced or pulled out of service so that coverage is maintained. Number 3. The US government owns and operates GPS. Like most modern technologies, GPS was developed out of the military during the Cold War. Nuclear power was all the rage back then, so were nuclear submarines. They can approach a coast silently, close enough to fire ballistic missiles into the mainland. However, to fire a ballistic missile accurately from a submarine, it's critical that you know exactly where the submarine is located. GPS was thus used as a better navigation system. Although the Cold War had ended 4 years prior, GPS became fully operational in 1995. At first, the highest quality signal was reserved for military use, but in 2000, GPS was made freely available to the public as a national resource. Number 2. They can feel earthquakes. For years now, geoscientists have depended upon seismometers, which measure how much the ground is shaking to observe how big and how bad an earthquake is. GPS receivers served a different purpose, which is to track geologic processes that happen on a much slower scale, such as the rate at which Earth's tectonic plates grind past one another. In that case, GPS might be able to tell scientists the speed at which the opposite sides of any one particular fault are creeping past each other, while seismometers measure the ground shaking when the fault ruptures into a quake. Most researchers thought that GPS simply couldn't measure locations precisely or quickly enough to be used in assessing earthquakes. But it turns out that scientists can drain extra information out of the signals that GPS satellites transmit to Earth. Scientists, surveyors, the military, and others often need a very precise GPS location. So, this has turned out to be an incredibly useful asset. Number 1. GPS might be messing with our brains. Because the rise of GPS is pretty recent, researchers don't yet know the extent of its impact on the human brain. But there has been some evidence that an increased dependence on GPS may also be bad for our brains. It was found that several London taxi drivers actually had a larger hippocampus, which is the area of the brain that stores geographical information about the environment, as compared to control subjects who didn't drive taxis, leading researchers to believe the human brain can actually change in response to different demands. According to a study published in 2000, it was proposed that it only makes sense that many people aren't creating the mental maps they would without the rise of GPS. But still, it's pretty hard to ignore the advantages GPS comes with. And with that, it's the end of our list of the facts you didn't know about GPS. Let us know in the comment section below if you have any fact we might have forgotten. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon. Share this video with a friend who might enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Until next time.